Hey everyone, today we're diving into a topic that sits at the intersection of espionage, tech, and the everyday reality of our screens, a new hacking toolkit aimed at iPhones, reportedly tied to Russian-aligned actors, and what it actually means for you and for the broader cybersecurity landscape. First, the hook. What if your iPhone could be quietly pawned by a toolkit that's not just about spying, but about grabbing personal data, and possibly even cryptocurrency, from people who never signed up for a high-tech thriller? The latest reports say there's a stealthy toolkit, codenamed Darksword, used in campaigns targeting Ukrainians, with the byline pointing toward a Russian government-linked group. If that sounds like something out of a movie, that's exactly why it's so important to talk about it in a grounded, practical way. Let's set the stage. We've got a few moving parts here: sophisticated iPhone attack chains, the shift from broad surveillance to quick, data-first intrusions, and the question of attribution. How confident are researchers about who's behind these tools and why they're targeting certain populations? The researchers from Google, iVerify, and Lookout describe Darksword as modular, capable of stealing a broad set of data, passwords, photos, messages from WhatsApp, Telegram, and texts, plus browser history. Crucially, they emphasize the toolkit isn't designed for long-term persistence, it's built for fast in-and-out data exfiltration. That distinction matters, because it shapes how we think about defense. If the attacker only needs minutes on the device, your defenses need to be ready for rapid detection and rapid response. Key idea number 1, the evolution of government-grade spyware finding its way into criminal ecosystems. What we're seeing is not a single, siloed operation but a thread that appears to twist and turn through different actors and markets. From Coruna to Darksword, researchers are tracing lines from state-developed capabilities to more widely accessible tools. My read is, the barrier to entry for high-end spyware is lower than we thought, but the operational patterns, how quickly the tool pivots, how modular it is, how it hides, reveal intent and sophistication that's still beyond the average criminal script kiddie. What this matters for is trust in devices, app ecosystems, and platform hardening. If the same toolset can be repurposed or repackaged for financially motivated theft, you're looking at a wider spectrum of risk than purely geopolitical targeted attacks. Another layer here is attribution. The researchers lean into a strong suspicion that UNC 6353 is tied to Russian intelligence requirements, and they even float the possibility of a Russian criminal proxy relationship. Personally, I think attribution in cyber is always a chess match between what's publicly visible and what's known privately. The takeaway is less about pinning a label on a group and more about recognizing that geopolitical tensions can metastasize into multiple business models for attackers: espionage, financial theft, and opportunistic data grabs. What many people don't realize is how easily state-developed tools can migrate into commercial or quasi-criminal use, which expands risk vectors for everyday users. Key idea number 2, the smash and grab tempo of modern spyware. Darksword isn't built for long-term surveillance, it's designed for a quick strike, infect, steal, exit. Lookout and others describe dwell times in the minutes. That changes the defense playbook. If a tool can grab what it needs in under an hour, the window for detection relies on real-time anomaly detection, rapid credential abuse alerts, and secure isolation of high-risk data flows. What this raises is the broader question: are our security systems tuned for a high-tempo, short-visit intrusion, or are they optimized for slow, persistent surveillance? From my perspective, the best defense is layered: network-level protections, device integrity checks, and user education about sudden changes in data access patterns. On a personal level, this hits home. If your device can be compromised in minutes, you want to assume bad actors are trying to map your life during that tiny window. It's why features like automatic passcode changes after suspicious sign-in events, phishing-resistant MFA, and hardware-backed keys matter more than ever. Key idea number 3, the cryptocurrency angle. Some researchers note Darksword's capability to potentially steal crypto from wallet apps. This detail is a pivot from traditional spyware use cases, which focused on credentials and messages. If true, it signals a potential shift toward financially motivated exploitation even for groups with espionage goals. What this really suggests is that threat actors are increasingly opportunistic, evaluating whether crypto wallets on mobile devices can be plundered in a single campaign. What people misunderstand here is that crypto theft isn't just about stealing a private key, it can involve intercepting credentials, session tokens, or even manipulating transactions. This complicates how individuals and teams should protect themselves, separate sensitive wallets from devices used for daily browsing, enable hardware wallets where possible, and maintain vigilance over app permissions and unusual transaction prompts. Key idea number 4, the role of the ecosystem and supply chain. The toolkit reportedly leverages compromised websites as initial footholds, which means user trust in benign-looking sites can be weaponized. For creators, developers, and everyday users, this is a reminder that the surface area of risk is not just my phone, but the entire browsing environment, code loaded from untrusted sources, third-party apps, and the habit of clicking through prompts. From my perspective, the bigger trend is a shift toward compromise at the edge. Small footholds in the web supply chain can cascade into device-level breaches. The lesson is simple but powerful: keep software up to date, vet the websites you visit, and minimize the attack surface by limiting cross-app data sharing where possible. Deeper insight: what this all reveals about the balance of power in cyber warfare and cybercrime. On one hand, we have state-aligned actors developing sophisticated, modular toolkits. On the other, cybercriminals acquiring and repurposing those tools for profit. The line between government spyware and criminal malware is increasingly blurry, which means policy, oversight, and defensive innovation need to operate in that same gray area. The broader trend is clear: as offensive capabilities become commoditized, defense must prioritize rapid detection, rapid patching, and user-centric safeguards that don't require a degree in cryptography to enable. Closing thought. If you take a step back and think about it, these developments aren't just about what big nations or secret agencies do. They're a signal about the daily risk every one of us carries on our smartphones. My takeaway: stay skeptical of the tools you install, keep your devices updated, and build habits around security that scale with the pace of modern threats. The question I want you to ponder is this: in a world where fast, high-skill intrusions can target ordinary people in minutes, what changes would you make today to protect your digital life? If you found this breakdown useful, drop a comment with how you're tightening your own security practices this year. Do you use a hardware wallet, or have you adjusted your app permissions in response to stories like this? What else would you like me to unpack, more about attribution, or practical steps to reduce risk in day-to-day use? I'll read and respond, and I might turn your ideas into a deeper follow-up.